Thank you. Arigato.
The Your Own Pay Podcast Network, inspiring, motivating, and educating entrepreneurs around the world. It's Damashe and Michael, just talking tech.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is DM25, Damashe and Michael, just talking tech. I am, of course, Damashe, at Damashe on Twitter, Damashe, joined, as always, by Michael Babcock. Mike, what's going on?
Oh, you know, listening to the kids playing video games and hanging out on Twitter at Payon, Payon. If you want the show notes for today's episode, head on over to yourownpay.com/DM25. Go take a look at that. Speaking of which, Damashe, what are we talking about this week?
So this week, we're going to be talking about the Mac application LaunchBar. And LaunchBar is an amazing app. We have, of course, mentioned it several times at this point. But Mike, give people a brief overview of what LaunchBar is.
Of course, I'd love to. LaunchBar, for me, is where everything starts on the Mac. So you know how when Damashe and I recorded that episode talking all about cool tools for macOS and iOS, your text starts in drafts on iOS. For me, anything else on the Mac starts in LaunchBar. LaunchBar is a way you can quickly access any file or service on your Mac computer. You can replace the command space, which now is Spotlight by default, for the LaunchBar. I never used Spotlight myself, kind of like Damashe. And when you press command space, you can find any file on your computer and you can take action on that file, whether that be open it or move it or send it to a different application. We'll talk more about some of these powerful features in LaunchBar later on in the episode, but one of my favorite features, there's a caveat if you use 1Password, but one of my favorite features, even though it took me a while to figure out, is Clipboard History. Now, Damashe, there are so many features. Most people don't learn all of LaunchBar. What's your favorite features?
So the Clipboard History definitely comes in handy, especially when you're building Linux servers.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice to have that. Also, I like the send, and I'm going to get the name of this feature wrong.
Instant send?
It's the send to, instant send. There you go. Good deal. So instant send allows you to either highlight something in the Finder and press and hold the keyboard shortcut, or highlight something on LaunchBar itself, whether it be a file or a folder, and press tab and instantly send that to a different place. So you can move files that way, which I do a lot, or start off an email with an attachment. I already grabbed the attachment, which means I won't forget it because I started the email with that attachment. That's another feature I love about LaunchBar. I do love the ability to browse my folder structure, including externally mounted volumes from LaunchBar, and then act on those files, whether it's open them, copy them, move them around, delete them. Whole lot of stuff. There's a lot of actions that I love too. Being able to empty my trash from LaunchBar is a blessing sometimes.
Having the ability to quickly look someone's information up. I mean, LaunchBar, they also index all of your contact information. So if you wanted to quickly look up Tom's phone number, all I had to do is hit command space, type in the word Tom, and right there, I have Tom's details. Now, one of the things I'll say is that LaunchBar is one of those tools that you'll never use all of the features of. I bring this up because I knew about Instant Send, but I didn't know you could use one button to instant send items to LaunchBar from the Finder, or even to applications. So thanks a lot, Damashe.
LaunchBar is definitely an application that my suggestion would be, start with the features that, or start with a feature that really interests you. You're like, hey, I can really use that, and work that feature until you have it mastered. And you're going to continue to go through feature sets, and some things you'll use, some things you won't, but there's always more that you're not using, and you may not need to, but there's always more. One of the things I truly love about LaunchBar is it's a very simple application to use, but it is extremely powerful, and it's extensible with custom actions. They have a very nice custom actions directory linked up on their website. That'll be in the show notes at yourownpay.com/DM25. And there are also other places to get custom actions as well as creating your own. So quick example, I have a lot of custom searches set up, for example, to search specific websites. So if I'm looking for something on Amazon, I usually start in LaunchBar. I type AMZ, that brings up search Amazon. I tap the space bar.
No.
I type in what I'm looking for in that little edit box and hit return. It launches Safari, it does the search, and then I'm looking at the results.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Don't tell Mallory about that, or I'm going to have to find a whole new way of living. I typed in TERM, and that brought up the terminal application, which is kind of not what I wanted, but I went ahead and hit enter because that's what I thought I wanted. Then the other day I typed in TERM, down arrowed a couple of times, and one of the actions I found was run terminal command. Tapped enter and was able to enter a command and was dropped into the terminal window. Now, because I typed in TERM and pressed down arrow again, LaunchBar realized that I didn't want to continue pressing down arrow to get to run terminal command. And if I'm pressing down arrow because the first thing that LaunchBar selected wasn't the right option, then it's possible I want to go back to that last option that I down arrowed all the way down to. So LaunchBar kindly brought it up and made it the second option for me. When I tapped enter and ran another command, the next time I typed in TERM, the very first option that came up wasn't terminal anymore. It was run terminal command.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that with LaunchBar. So another feature that I like about LaunchBar is the custom sort of actions that you get on specific applications. So let's take Reaper, for example. Say you go in and my Reaper shortcut is RPR. That brings up Reaper, but it also tells me that I have, 5 recent documents in Reaper, possibly.
Without even having to open the application.
Without opening the application. That is the amazing thing.
And yes, if you're paying attention, that means you can find applications in LaunchBar. Locate the files that you recently opened within that application and open the application with those previous documents already opened.
Absolutely. If there's one reason to use LaunchBar, that's one of the primary reasons right there. And this works with most applications. There are a few, and I believe they actually have them listed on the website. I'll get a link for you guys in the show notes where I believe Microsoft Office is, Microsoft Word is one of those that does not work. Any application on the Mac that will show you a recent list of open applications from in that application, it basically passes that metadata to LaunchBar, so you're also able to browse those documents externally and then decide whether or not to open it or use InstantSend to email it.
Now, I kind of mentioned this feature earlier in the episode. That is the Clipboard History. Damashe mentioned his love for it as well. By default, you hit Command / in order to access this clipboard history information. You can change this. Head on over to yourownpay.com/DM25. That's the video Damashe dropped for you guys showing you how to make these modifications in the LaunchBar application. But you can change it so it doesn't conflict with your 1Password autofill keystroke Command /. I'm not sure why there's not better communication between the two organizations. I don't know, maybe like some sort of wizard that says, hey, we see you have 1Password in your applications. Would you like to switch your keyboard history from Command / to Control / or vice versa?
You guys already talked, right? Because here's another nice feature of LaunchBar. They can index your 1Password items. Now, it doesn't send any passwords over LaunchBar or anything like that, but you can see the names of the items that you have in LaunchBar. So, for example, I have a shortcut set up that will get me to my 1Password categories, and I can browse all the categories of items that I have in 1Password. So it'll show me logins, and I can browse that list of logins, and using just the first few letters of a specific item in 1Password, I can bring that up, and depending on the item, determines what the action is going to be if I press return. If I bring up a login, let's say Amazon.com, for example, and I press return, it's going to launch that website and fill in the password for me. From looking at something like software licenses, I can press return, get that software license information brought up in a window so I can go copy a key or click a link to download the app. Super nice. So we know they talk to each other, right?
So as you've heard today, there are a lot of things LaunchBar can do, and I recommend picking up a book. What's that book you recommended to me, Damashe, that helps you learn LaunchBar?
Take Control of LaunchBar. It's a great book from the folks over at the Take Control books. They do a lot of good stuff in general. But this book, I bought this book, and it actually really did help me. One, to get started with LaunchBar in a sense of, and that's where the quote or the line from me that says, start with one feature that you really like and learn that feature and then work your way through the application. Otherwise you will get overwhelmed with all the features. So, very good book, highly recommended. But with all that being said, the question that you may be asking yourself is, why in the hell do I need this LaunchBar app? I got searched. That's not what it's called. It's called Spotlight.
See how often he uses that?
Yeah. Or, I'm not going to do all this crap with this app. Listen, Mike said this in the beginning that, he wasn't into LaunchBar initially because he had Spotlight and he realized that he wasn't really using Spotlight. So why am I going to invest money in an application that is a Spotlight clone?
And every time I find a new feature, I chat with you or I browse the action library online, or I just search out some actions, or you give me some ideas for some actions. I realize how well it was worth the investment for LaunchBar.
I got to tell you, give it a try. Here are just a couple of things that I think LaunchBar is super helpful with, and it makes you more productive. Being able to quickly move files around, accessing information without having to actually launch an application to get it.
Apparently searching Amazon quickly. Again, don't let Mallory know about that. Getting any information about your computer. And something Damashe taught me recently, even telling your computer to stay awake. So definitely check out LaunchBar. There's some great resources over at yourownpay.com/DM25. And with that, Damashe, do you have anything else you want to add for today's episode dedicated to my man Marlin in Trinidad and Tobago? Told you we'd do a LaunchBar episode.
Nope, that's it. It's an awesome app. You should get it. You should try it. I promise you'll fall in love with it. If you like the feature set and it doesn't work, go to Alfred, because it's kind of what happened to me. I started with Alfred first. I liked what Alfred could do, but I didn't necessarily like the app. So LaunchBar was home for me. But you need one of these things in your life, preferably LaunchBar. That's our preference. But either one, you need one of these because it makes your life a lot more efficient.
With that, like always, we appreciate you for hanging out with Damashe and I on Damashe and Michael Just Talking Tech every Tuesday. You can follow me on Twitter at Payown, Payow, and check out the show notes at yourownpay.com/DM25. How can they follow you on Twitter, Damashe?
I'm at Damashe on Twitter, Damashe. So if you're a LaunchBar user or Alfred user, either one. But if you use a keyboard launcher on your computer, reach out to us. Let us know how you're using it, or tweet at us and ask us some questions if you have any questions about what can it do or how to do something.
You've been listening to Your Own Pay Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, visit yourownpay.com/cast for exclusive content and to contact us today. We're eager to hear your thoughts and about how you're making this podcast your own. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon. The Your Own Pay Podcast, yourownpay.com.